Greetings, lineage. This is your brother Chief Flying Eagle, aka Lord Marakan. I'm going to do this again. I have done this before, but I'm going to do it again because people are spreading misinformation. I'm not sure if they haven't done enough due diligence in terms of their research and they haven't gone deep enough, but we have to be mindful of the information that we put out there and give people because we have to show them the facts, right? At least let's make an attempt to do so and give people the sources. All right. So a lot of people are saying we are not Indians because we are not from India. And some people are giving their own rendition of trying to explain it to people based on what they think. But I'm going to show you what it is. Okay? My people, pay attention. I'm taking you to a map of 450 BC. That was way before 1492. I'm taking you to a map of 450 BC. To be specific, a Herodotus map of 450 BC. And he was considered the father of history. And it says he knew it. He knew it. All right? Meaning that he knew what the world looked like, the concept of the world in 450 BC. He was considered the father of history. All right? Now, based on the perception and the knowledge and the information they had of the world in 450 BC, this is what it looked like. Europe, Libya, and Asia. Nowhere on this map you see Africa. Nowhere on this map you see the name Africa or the name America. The question remains, does that mean Africa didn't exist or America didn't exist? They did exist, but Africa wasn't called Africa in 450 BC. Africa was called Libya. That landmass was called Libya. So in 450 BC, the people who call themselves Africans today, if they were there at that time, they would be called Libyans. Let's get to America because that's my main focus. Now, even before I jump into that, the name America was not given to our continent by Vespucci. All right, we have to clear all the misconceptions. That name came from Nicaragua, from the Amerique tribe. And that name was literally given to the entire Americas. So the whole Vespucci thing, that's out of the window. I don't need to spend a lot of time on that. My focus is on India and why we are called Indians. And it's not because Christopher Columbus think he was going to India. He knew he was going to India, the land of the Indians, and I'm going to prove it with a 450 BC map from Herodotus, the so-called father of history. Let us focus on Asia, right? So when Christopher Columbus was traveling, he was traveling east in Asia. Now, anywhere in the world, if you're traveling east and you keep going east, eventually you'll end up west. Anywhere in the world, if you're traveling north and you keep going north, eventually you'll end up south, vice versa. So by traveling far east, he ended up in the west of Asia, the western lands of Asia. And in Asia, he ended up in the land of the Indians. The land of the Indians. It's right here on the map, right here. The land of the Indians, right next to the Indus River. At that time, what we call India today, it was called Hindustan or Bharat. It wasn't called India. However, to discredit us, to wipe us out of his story, they named only that landmass India. However, in 450 BC, extreme east, which is actually west, was called India Superior. And you'll find maps, ancient maps, that cost $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 that shows America as India superior. Why is that? Because we had the most pyramids, we had the high civilization, and we have the most fertile soil on the planet. And we have the most purest water on the planet. So it was called India Superior. So Columbus knew where he was going. It wasn't a coincidence that he called us Indians, because on that map that he saw when he did his research, it says Indians, and Indians was a land mass. So therefore, the people that was in the Indians land of the Indians, they were called Indians. However, it was split into two parts. You have the East Indians, what we call India today, and you have the West Indians traveling extremely west in Asia. So in 450 BC, we wouldn't have been called Americans. We would have been called Asiatic Aboriginals or West Indians, okay? Or Asians in West Asia. That's what we would have been called in 450 BC. I'm giving you all the different possibilities of the names that we would have been called in 450 BC. But because they realized Asia was so vast and there was a whole section of Asia, they found that was a continent of its own, but it was still in the Indian territory or so-called Indian landmass. Not knowing how vast it was, they called it India Superior. And the people found they were called Indians, particularly West Indians. So, yes, Columbus didn't make a mistake. Okay? He knew exactly where he was going. He was going to the land of the Indians. As you could see, it also says Indus, the Indus River. There's also the Indus constellation. Let me show you that. All right? I'm going to stop sharing my screen and we are going to go back to this right here. And I'm going to share it one more time. And I'm going to show you that there was an Indus constellation. Okay? Here we go. The Americas were under the Indus constellation. More importantly, the constellation's name is thought to reference either the indigenous people of East Asia or the Americas. We are indigenous to the Americas. That's why it's called that whole atmosphere. Okay, was called Indus River under the constellation of Indus. Hence, the people are called Indians from the word Indus, from the constellation of Indus. My people, please do your due diligence. All right? And it's okay to say that you got the information from Lord Amaticon. There's no need to rewrite the wheel. Just share the information, man. I'm tired of us trying to prove we're American Indians. I'm tired of us trying to prove we're the original indigenous people. What's next? And that's what I'm here for. I keep telling you, I know how to restore our people. I know how. You feel me? So this was just clarification for you. So now you're able to tell and teach people the truth. Why we're called Indians. Not because we are not from India. Yes, we are actually from India, but we are from West India. Okay? And if we were supposed to go back if we were to go back in 450 BC, we would have been Asians. But we would have been West Asians or West Asiatic people or West Asia Aboriginals based on the 450 BC map by the so-called father of history. Okay? Let's move on. Please. Thank you.